February reads. The first one I read for February was The Hotel by Pamela Kelly. I gave it a solid Valentine's fluff rating of mid. Forgettable somewhat, but she's a pretty solid author for enjoyable reads. The second thing I read was Burn for Me by Alona Andrews. I probably said her name wrong, but it's the first of a series, and it's a really good series. I highly recommend it. It's got magical world building. It's got strong, burly, morally gray heroes. It's got a kick-ass independent thinker and sassy heroine. I don't know how you say that, but anyways, so it's a solid read, and I'm really looking forward to book 2 in that series. And we already know where she's going to go with it, but I'm looking forward to it. Book 3 that I read for February was Refuge on Crescent Hill by Melanie Dodson, and is completely forgettable, unfortunately, just how it is. Book 4 that I read for February was Out of the Clear Blue Sky, and it was one of my favorite reads. However, it gives a read from the wife who's being left's perspective, the other woman's perspective, and it kind of intersperses both their stories. A lot of people didn't like that. But here's my thoughts and feelings on that. The cheating that occurs in that woman's life is not the other woman's fault. It was the husband's fault from the beginning. So I never minded her perspective. He, on the other hand, is such a little shit that at times I wanted access to her phone just so I could block his ass for her, because he was such a gaslighting manipulator about making it her fault. The next book that I read for February was The Princess and the something. Anyways, hang on and I'll tell you. The Cowboy and the Princess. It was book 2 in a series, and it was just, it wasn't as cute as book 1. And book 3 is a Christmas themed book, so I won't even revisit those characters until November of this year. So maybe I'll remember them, maybe I won't. A little bit unbelievable, by the way. Like, that was complete romantic, unbelievable reality setup, okay? The next one that I read was Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. It was a sequel to the first book, which I really, really liked. This one was really good, though the conflict at times feels, I don't know, it's something. And, but it's still really cute. Loved the kids, and I really liked the messages and themes in the book. So highly recommend anything in that series by him. The next one that I read was To Live and Die in Dixie, which says it's by Kathy something, but really it's Mary Kay Andrews. It's the second in her mystery series of Kennedy Callahan, something like that. Callahan, anyway. It's the second in her mystery series. The problems I have with that one is it just drops casual racism into the middle of the story. And at first, it really bothered me because it would just drop the word and I'd be like, what? And there's no consequences for it. But then I realized that's just daily life for Southerners and some Midwesterners when you live in those states that pretend to be Southern. So, it happens and it's not really always confronted. And then you're left to sit with your unsettling feelings after it happens. So it's a little bit realistic, and I actually kind of like her choice to do that now. I didn't at first, though, I will admit, and this is the second in the series, and it still kind of took me by surprise. But yeah, the more I think about it, the more I think it was a brilliant choice. The next one I read was Goodbye to All That by Judith Arnold, and it was completely... Anyway, there wasn't really a plot. There was no real resolution. It was just a going nowhere story. Was. Then I read On a Pale Horse by Piers Anthony. That one I read by mistake because my husband had put it in our Libby, and I didn't realize that because we're sharing a library now, I would get his books. So I thought, it's fantasy. I must have requested it, and I read it. I really enjoyed it, but Reddit has me really worried about reading anything from this guy after this, and even the later books in the series. So we'll see. Then I read 2 books by Diane Chamberlain, both Before the Storm and The Secret She Left Behind. Good books, a lot of unbelievable setup and unbelievable twists, but overall good books. And they do leave you slightly wanting just a tad more. I mean, you're okay with the resolution, but you wouldn't mind revisiting any of those characters in a future novel. The Island by Ellen Hildebrand. As far as she goes, it's a women's fiction, solid Valentine's read. Happy endings for some. Not all, but that's okay. Solid read. Not her best, not her worst. It's in the middle as far as she goes, as far as that is concerned. The next book I read was Power Trip by Jackie Collins. Definitely not her best work. Is it sexually super gritty? Yes. Is it super raunch? Yes. Is it too much raunch? A little bit. Is it repetitive raunch? Yes. Is the characters total sleazeballs? Yes. Are they totally vapid? Yes. Is there always one or two redeeming characters in it? Yes. But the ending really pissed me off about those two characters, so don't like the book. Was not her best. And then the last thing that I read for February was The Happiness Plan by Susan Mallory. And I will say that it was the end of a series and I hadn't read the prior ones in the series, so normally I wouldn't have picked it up like in that order, and maybe that affects this. But I felt like it was just okay for Susan Mallory. I've read better books by her. It is what it is. There's almost too many characters in it, but there's my February reads. And there was a lot of Valentine fluff in there because February is the month of love. So I don't try to look for a lot of deep series and stories in there, though I did fit a few in. So what did you read in February? And did you like it?